Hey there, welcome to Life Under Quarantine, the windy edition. So this is the day after the big storm came through. I hope everybody got through it okay. I didn't even hear it last night, but I got to sleep so late that I probably would have slept through pretty much anything. Been talking to a lot of people recently who've been having trouble sleeping now more than ever, and I'm right there with you. So I had this thought that I wanted to talk about. There's a concept in DIY and entrepreneurship circles about nobody cares. And it occurred to me that there is a good version of nobody cares and there is a bad version of nobody cares. One can be motivational and energizing, and the other one can be depressing and harmful. So the concept is, just because you started doing something that you're in love with, that you're passionate about, doesn't mean anyone else actually cares. You have to make them care, or encourage them to care, or invite them to care, or get them to care in some way. So that can actually be very energizing and freeing, because that also means that no one has any preconceived notions. You're starting from scratch. You're starting from a place of complete freedom. So, for example, I'm putting myself out there as a songwriter, as a musician, as a producer, as a drummer, as a mental health advocate in my own way. But just because I'm passionate about those things doesn't mean anybody else cares. So I have to put in the work, make the effort for that to happen, to get other people to care. So that's the basic idea. It can be harsh, it can be blunt, but so can reality. So it's actually a really good, very first lesson for someone who's starting any kind of business in any kind of way. Now, the dark side of that is for folks with mental health issues, especially anything around depression, the idea that nobody cares is pretty much the voice that sneaks up in the backs of our heads and tries to pull us down. It's probably the most dangerous idea that gets inside our heads, the one that we really have to watch out for, the one that we really have to fight against. Because it's not true that no one is completely alone. We all have connections. It's hard to see sometimes. It's hard to feel sometimes, especially when the depression sets in. But they are there. So for somebody like me, trying something new and really trying to use this quarantine time as effectively as possible, it can be very tricky, reminding myself that on the one hand, no one cares, meaning I need to put in the effort and put in the time and do the work, while also not listening to the voice that says no one cares, that there's no one out there, that no one ever will care, because that's not true. And one of the really interesting, paradoxical things about DIY and entrepreneurship is that even though you're dedicated to making something yourself, you never do it completely alone. There's always people around you who care and are willing to help, both on the professional side and on the personal side. While we're all quarantined up, it might be really easy for folks with depressive tendencies to start feeling isolated and alone and like no one cares. That's the illness. That's the issue. That's what we want to fight against. So when you start feeling that way, start reaching out to whomever. Sometimes all it takes is just one little reach out and one little connection, and then the voice goes away and you feel better. Sometimes it takes more than that, but it always starts with the single contact. So I hope everybody is dealing with their quarantine okay. We're really in it, and we're not at the end yet, but we're getting through it. Hope everybody stays well. and I will talk to you soon.